Hey, it's Where Hollywood Hides, and we'd like to welcome a new sponsor to the podcast, Wine.com. Wine.com is America's #1 online retailer. They offer thousands of wines, wine gifts, accessories, club discounts, even free shipping. Wine.com has real expertise. They've been online for over 10 years. They have quantity, thousands of wines from all over the world, and they have great quality with acclaimed wines rated by Wine Spectator and Robert Parker's Wine Advocate. You'll find direct links to everything at Wine.com, including the amazing discounts, right through WhereHollywoodHides.com. So go to our website, click on the Wine.com banner, and check out their incredible prices, impeccable service, and great selection. You know, after years of working on Falcon Crest, Suzanne and I have come to know quite a bit about what goes into a decent glass of wine. So whether you're just a casual wine drinker or a certified wine snob, you'll find the best Wine.com values through the links at WhereHollywoodHides.com.
It's time for Where Hollywood Hides. Here's Bob and Suzanne.
Chicken joke!
I'm Mrs. Cleaver.
From Television City in Hollywood.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller plays.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Nano.
Baby, you're the great.
Here comes the judge.
More cowbell.
Not special.
There's anything wrong with that?
And now for something completely different.
There's no business like show business, like no business.
Welcome to
I
Where Hollywood
know.
Hides. This is podcast episode number
Everything
25.
about
My
it
name
is
is Bob
amazing.
McCullough.
And my name is Suzanne Herrera-McCullough.
Hi.
Hi.
We have a great interview today.
We did a part 2 of Jimmy Hawkins.
Yep, it's going to be good stuff.
Well, we got a fabulous response off his first podcast.
Broke the record for listeners.
That's right. And he had so much more to say. We thought we would give him a call again.
There's a lot to learn just by listening to his stories, that's for sure.
You know, he's been in the business for a very long time.
I don't want to say how many years, but it's a while.
But my point is, he looks fabulous.
Well, maybe being an actor, I don't know, but the guy has taken care of himself. So, Suzanne, did I see you reading some stuff about Comic-Con down in San Diego, that big convention with all the pop culture and comic book heroes and TV shows?
The big news today is on display. They are going to have the cape and cowl that Ben Affleck is going to be wearing on Batman. Did you know he was going to be
What?
Batman?
My
Batman.
God.
He is going to make.
Okay.
The movie's called Batman versus Superman.
I don't want to say I'm not a predictor, but if
Don't you dare jinx it. Don't
he
you
be-
dare. Don't you dare.
If he comes on like
Quiet.
George Clooney
Quiet.
as Batman,
Oh, come on. Ben Affleck is so much better.
I
don't want to say anything.
My favorite Batman, we'll get into sometime, but
Thank you.
It's
Thank
neither
you.
of those.
Anyway,
Okay.
I was very excited. Anyway, they're showing his outfit. If I was in San Diego, I'd be there in a second.
But he's not going to be there in the outfit.
Well, who knows? He may show up.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
Then I'll be there.
You know what? I'll bet you're right. I'll bet he does show up just to promote the film before they even shoot the thing.
Also of great interest is Woody Allen has done his very first podcast ever.
Are you kidding?
Even though he said he didn't know what a podcast was.
Yeah.
Woody Allen has said many times his films are a constant disappointment to him.
Oh, I actually heard that he's never seen his movies after he's produced them.
He sounds so depressed.
Yeah, like if one comes on television, he won't watch it.
But I thought that was interesting that he did a podcast. Too
Well-
bad we didn't get him.
Well, we can try.
Okay, so really excited about talking with Jimmy Hawkins. Oh, and something really important,
Yeah.
our book.
Oh, yes.
Our book is going to be out September 1st, 2014, available in all bookstores.
And Barnes & Noble, Amazon, through the website. You can purchase the book directly at wherehollywoodhides.com. Fulfillment will be almost instantaneous.
And
if you order through the website at wherehollywoodhides.com, Suzanne and I will autograph the book for you. It's a kind of a tribute to celebrities in our neck of the woods. You'll find it's full color, a real classy Christmas gift.
it's going to be a great gift.
The perfect souvenir. All interested in celebrities in Hollywood.
And if you're a tourist, something to take back to the family.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Even if you never come to Santa Barbara, you can say you've been there by ordering the book directly at wherehollywoodhides.com.
And we love the process so much that is fighting every week about the book that we are starting a new book.
Right. We should have another book out by the end of this year, which we don't want to announce the title right now because it's amazing. I'll just put it that way.
It's in the works.
Right. So look forward to Where Hollywood Hides, Santa Barbara, Celebrities in Paradise at your bookstores and on Amazon and at wherehollywoodhides.com. And now, let's see what Jimmy Hawkins has for us.
I love Jimmy.
And Jimmy Hawkins is on the line with us. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're great.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, I've been watching your podcasts with other people. Extremely interesting. I'm glad you're doing this.
Well, thanks. We're having a lot of fun with it. Just for the listeners, I just want to bring them up to speed very quickly. Podcast episode number 19 featured Jimmy, who began his career at the age of, I think, 4. Two.
Yeah.
And was one of the lead actors in the classic Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life, and went on to have a really remarkable career as an actor, ultimately becoming Elvis's sidekick, working with Ricky Nelson on Ozzie and Harriet. And how many credits did you have, Jim? Do you have any idea?
Almost 500.
500 acting.
Gee, is that all?
Really?
That's it. I had to call it quits at a certain time. And
right.
That's what it added up to.
So there aren't many people on Earth who can claim to have 500 acting credits.
Jimmy, I have to tell you, you don't look that old, okay?
Oh, well, that's nice of you.
You look
to say.
fabulous.
I look much better on the phone. You're right. Yeah.
So, but the other remarkable thing about you, Jim, is that you transition from a life in front of the camera to an incredibly productive life behind the scenes as a producer, developer, author, and that's the kind of stuff we'd like to talk about today.
In this business, I feel you have to keep reinventing yourself. You have to do that as an actor. You know, you're a kid actor, and then you grow up, and then you've got to reinvent yourself so that you're somebody that they want at that age. And there's like 2 steps to that. And I was able to make both of them. And then I just decided I wanted more out of the industry. I wanted to know more about it. And I wanted to get a project and see if I could see it all the way through from an idea, a concept, to the screen. And so I decided the best way to do it is just quit acting and let people know you're serious about this new endeavor. And so I went out to find that project. So
just take one half step backward. Tell me the first day you told your agent in the industry you were no longer interested in acting. What's that like?
Was it a gradual process?
In a way it is, but they kept coming back and offering me stuff. And the final day that I finished shooting my very first movie that I raised the money with and was one of the producer on, I got a call from Warner Brothers, and they wanted me to meet with Jimmy Stewart to play his son in a new TV series he was going to do.
Are we talking about the Jimmy Stewart?
Right, the guy that I had play my father in It's Wonderful Life.
That's right.
Yes, that's the one. And so I thought it was very interesting. It's a Go series and all this kind of stuff. So I met with everybody, and they said, okay, we'd like you to do a scene with Jimmy Stewart so we can show the network. They apparently said that to 3 or 4 other actors, different types. We all did this scene with Jimmy Stewart. And they decided to go a different way and not hire me to play his son. They went with another actor. So I just continued to try and put projects together. But the first one, you're looking, you're making connections with money people to see if you do find something, you have a place to take the project to get it funded.
So you encountered that challenge even before you had a piece of material you wanted to work with?
Yeah, I'd kind of got to know different people who had money who were interested in getting into the picture business. And so I went out looking for something to bring them.
Uh-huh.
And I went over to Universal to have lunch with a buddy of mine who was doing a project with George Hamilton. I think you know Chuck Stroud.
Sure.
He's all-around good guy and a real kind of a promoter on his own. And so at lunch, I said, so what are you working on? He said, well, I'm doing this thing with George Hamilton. I said, oh, yeah, what is it? He said, it's a project called Evel Knievel. I said, what's Evel Knievel? What's that?
Right.
So he began to tell me the story about Evel. He's a guy that jumps his motorcycle, and George kind of got one of the outfits and went to some of his jumps and had pictures taken on a motorcycle to show people that he could play this character number one. And so I said, yeah, I'd like to see it. So he showed me this footage on George. I said, geez, that's great. And he kept telling me more about Evel, and I said, boy, that's a good project. I said, I can raise the money for that.
So at that time, it was not really a finance go project.
It was nothing.
It was just an
idea of George. There was, no script or anything, because I asked Chuck. I said, "Oh, let me read it." He said, "Well, we don't have anything."
And at that time, Evel Knievel was a media phenomenon. I mean, he was.
Well, he was beginning to be.
Uh-huh.
I mean, George knew about him making these jumps, and this he had already made that jump almost at Caesar's Palace, and that was part of the film to show, look what this guy does. He, everybody wants him to fail.
So you had the documentary footage of Evel Knievel breaking 85 bones or something.
That's right. So I said, I can raise the money. He said, well, let me talk to George about you. So we talked to George and said, Jimmy Hawkins thinks he can raise the money. He said, yeah, let him go. So I called these three people with this concept. All of them sparked to it. One said he'd do the project, but he didn't want George. I said, well,
that's a problem, right?
Yeah, he's got to take him. So
right.
He was out. So then I got another guy in New York, and then I had met with a guy who did low-budget kind of motorcycle pictures by the name of Joe Salomon.
Uh-huh.
And the timing was just right. I had taken it to him and talked to his secretary, told him I want him to know about this project, and it just happened that I took it to him on a Friday, and the Sunday calendar was all about Evel Knievel.
Perfect.
At perfect timing, and the girl went back Monday morning and said, look at this. This is what Jimmy Hawkins brought in. This is the guy. He wants you to meet George Hamilton and blah, blah, blah. He said, well, good. Set it up.
And you had nothing to do with that newspaper piece?
Nothing. It just happened to, just.
So what
run.
I mean, so one of the underlying themes that we're getting in all of our podcasts and talking to the people in the industry is luck does play a significant factor.
And timing.
Yes, it does. It does, no doubt. So he called, said, where do you want to meet? And I said, well, come out to Universal. We got some footage to show you. So he sat in a screening room out there and watched George in the outfit and Evel doing intercutting jumps and stuff like that. And then the lights came up, and he said, well, what do you want to do? He said, well, we want to get a script. He says, okay, you got a guy to write? Yeah, we have somebody that we want to write it. Good, let's go. And so he gave us the green light on putting up the money for a script. And we got a very well-known writer. He just came off a big hit movie, and he wrote the script. And we went up to Santa Barbara to pick it up. And on the way back, I read it in the car. And Chuck was driving, and we were to meet with George because he had a dinner. Dinner was planned with Joe Salomon that night. So he said, well, what is it? I said, this is terrible.
So you had a script. You had a script that you were afraid to show George Hamilton.
Well, I wasn't afraid to show it to him. I was afraid that we had to show it to Joe Salomon, the guy that put up the money.
Oh, right, okay.
Because he kind of was a schlocky producer, and he didn't get the best of writers, and so we had talked him into doing the project with this guy. He just came off a big hit movie at Fox. Oh, well, okay. So he put up more money for the script probably than he had ever done in a movie.
Uh-huh.
So it's a big step for this guy.
Sure.
So had dinner that night, and he explained, look, the thing didn't turn out that good. And so Joe said, well, let me come up with somebody. So we were stuck with what he had come up with. In the meantime, there was a writer who was becoming extremely popular, and we had a meeting with him by the name of John Milius.
Oh, yeah.
And he had come up with a concept for this thing that just blew everybody away. I mean, bigger than life. John Milius was bigger than life. In his projects, he commanded troops and things. And so with this other guy's script and then John Milius taking a run at it, we had the script that we needed and wanted. It had a lot of humor in it, a lot of bravado, and it was big.
So by the time you got the draft from John Milius, how many writers had actually been on the project? Two. Okay, so he was the second one. You got lucky.
Third.
The third writer.
By the time John Milius came on, we had these other two drafts.
Right. And who was directing the picture, and how did you select the director?
Well, it's like all projects. You see who's available. You see how much money you have to actually hire a director. We looked at footage on people, and we came up with a guy named Marvin Chomsky.
Yeah, he had done a lot of television at that time.
A lot of television, yeah. Mission Impossible and stuff like that. And then when he came on board, and then started looking for a leading lady, timing was good there because Sue Lyon wanted to do something different.
So you and George Hamilton at this point are co-producing?
No, he's producing, and Chuck and I were associate producers.
Okay. It sounds like there was a little bit of an advantage having George Hamilton himself an actor, in that you as an actor and your first producing outing, people weren't looking kind of askance at you as, oh, well, he's just an actor trying to be a producer. I mean, you guys formed a pretty strong team. Because otherwise, it's in my experience, it seems like actors have a tough time transitioning behind the camera because they aren't really taking that seriously.
Right, and that's why I just didn't accept any acting or anything.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Before that, I just let them know. In fact, there was a part that was right for me.
I was going to ask about that, if you ever considered being in it.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to do. I want to be back here. I did all that. The actor who I could have played that part came up to me and said, "Jimmy, why aren't you playing this guy?" And I told him, no, I think a lot of acting and people who go through acting and want to act, I just am not a big fan of one of the producers becoming an actor and taking the part away from somebody whose dreams are that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they want to go, and they want to feed their family, and you're taking the job away from them when you're doing this. Why are you doing that too?
Well, that's a very generous.
That's a personal thing.
But that's pretty generous. I mean, yeah. I don't think most people in the business are that giving, frankly.
Yeah, no, but like you said, you want to be taken seriously.
So once you have the film in the can, once Chomsky's done his business, and you and George and Milius and whomever is involved in the editing, the cutting, and once the music's all done, you have a completed picture. How did you get the movie into the theaters?
Well, that's where Joe Solomon came in. He was extremely strong in knowing distribution and theaters and like that. Now, something unique happened. There was a picture out starring William Holden and Ryan O'Neal called The Rovers or The Wild Rovers or something.
Sure.
And it opened at the Grauman's Chiinese and tanked. Now, it was supposed to be in there for 4, 5, 6 weeks, something like that.
Are you saying they didn't sell enough tickets to fill the theater?
They didn't. It just was a bomb, and nobody was coming. So all of a sudden, Evel Knievel comes along, and they booked us into opening at the Grauman's Chiinese Theater.
Holy cow!
Replaced this bomb.
For those folks who aren't familiar with the Hollywood landscape, there is no more premier venue on Hollywood Boulevard or anywhere in the industry than the Grauman's Chiinese Theater. That's the site of all the documentary footage of classic movie premieres. And
yeah, that's right.
That's where everybody's handprints and footprints are in the cement. It's probably the number one tourist destination anywhere in Hollywood. And you got your movie released there?
That's where it premiered.
Oh my gosh.
And we were there for like 4 weeks. So I would pull my car up in front of the theater, or around the theater, and tell the doorman, I'm checking out, one of the producers says, I'm checking the house to see how, yeah, go on in. So there were people, this was, the 8 o'clock show was coming on.
You had to be excited. I mean, my heart is racing hearing this story. The Grauman's Chiinese, this is it.
Oh, this is it. It was incredible.
Yeah.
The people were around the block to get into the 10 o'clock show. The 8 o'clock show was just about over. So I wanted to see the people, and it was packed.
How fabulous.
We had Box Off magazine was there, and I was standing in the back of the theater, and the credits are going on, and all of a sudden I hear boom, boom. I go, what the heck is that? And I look over, and it's dark, but I can see George Hamilton on a motorcycle with the white leather outfit with the red, white, and blue.
Inside the theater?
Inside the theater.
Oh, my God.
And he goes down the aisle just in time for the final credits to be over. The lights came up, and George is standing in front of the screen with his hands up on the sickle, and the people went crazy.
That's showmanship. Huh?
I'm telling you.
That's showbiz,
he walks
baby.
out. Everybody in the theater walks out with him. Waiting are 1,000 people to get in.
Right.
Now, he's in the midst of this, and Box Office magazine shoots him in the middle of all this, and it's it's on the cover of their Box Office that
That's
week.
called good PR, right?
It was just great. It was great. He just was incredible. The people just loved this character, this Evel Knievel guy, because he was, he didn't go along with the program. He was,
sure.
He just did his own thing, and it's just
so that kind of publicity and promotion that just translates into greater box office in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, the picture made like in a month or two over $25 million in 1971.
And what was the budget? The production budget?
$750,000.
Oh my God, that's what they call a good margin in the world of commerce.
It was great. It just was great. It just all worked.
So
and you go, well, hey, geez, you have that gut reaction. I felt that this is something, and saw it through, and it became a hit, and I go, yeah, this is what I want to do.
How long had it been since your last performance in front of the camera until the release of Evel Knievel?
About 3 years.
Okay, so it's not an overnight success. It's a lot of hard work, day in and day out.
Yeah, right. Sure, you got to find a project, and then we went through like 3 scripts, and then prepping it, and then shooting it, and going to Butte to where it actually happened. It had a lot of production value.
What kind of contact did you guys have with Evel Knievel himself?
A lot. I mean, he was a major problem, because we got the script and everything, and then he wouldn't sign the contract he said he would sign, and he kept changing stuff. And so Chuck was very good with Evel and had a nice rapport. So they made a date to fly into Pittsburgh. Chuck had to fly into Pittsburgh, and Evel was close by, and so he flew in, and it was make it or break it. And so when Chuck met with Evel to sign his name on the contract, Evel said, well, Chuck said, stop right now. Either sign it or don't sign it. This is it. We've given you all you wanted. This is all here. Take it or leave it. We're tired of it. No more, Evel. And Chuck is very personable, and when, if you like the guy, which Evel did, you knew when he got to a certain point, that's it. It's over.
So that meeting was in Pittsburgh, not in the dusty flats of Montana where the holes are.
No, they were, no.
Right.
And so Evel signed it. Chuck got it back on the next plane, came back, we had it. And Evel said he was going to give us his trucks and all this crap, and nothing ever happened. He came to the location up in Butte.
So
that's about his involvement.
Sure. So with the phenomenal release and success of Evel Knievel, how do you leverage yourself ongoing as a producer? I mean, people today even remember you as an actor. You still have that.
Right, but while I was doing that, I met this gal, and she was telling me about a project her dad had, a book. And I said, oh, yeah. He said, yeah, he owns this book based on this famous ball player.
Now, when you say someone owns a book, you mean they've negotiated for an option to produce it, to use the rights?
Well, he had some rights to this book that he went to this former ball player who was world famous, and she told me something about the story. I said, well, let me read the book. I read it, fell in love with it. It was the life story of Satchel Paige.
Sure.
And so I had a buddy of mine that I met in the National Guard who became a lawyer with CBS, and then Johnny Carson was starting a company, and so they hired my buddy to head up Johnny Carson's company. So he had known about my like of this Satchel Paige story, and he said, I brought it up to Johnny, and he said, yeah, let's do it. And it was funny because I believed in this story, so I took it to NBC. And the head of movies of the week was a black man by the name of Stan Robertson. And I took it to his office and discussed it with him, and he said, oh, yeah, I know Satchel, a great story and everything, but it's just not what we're looking for here. I said, okay. So 2-3 weeks later, my buddy said, oh, I sold Johnny Carson your idea of doing the Satchel Paige story. So I made a deal with them, and Johnny Carson took my little treatment, and he and his new head of his company went over to meet with the head of movies for NBC. The same guy I was with a month ago.
Right. Who passed?
Dropped it on his desk and said, I really want to do this. And the guy looked at him and said, what a great idea, Johnny. We love it. Let's do it.
That's a common story, isn't it, in Hollywood?
Oh, really. It's that's what it's all about.
It's who you know.
The lesson there is don't give up on stuff you believe in.
Oh, no, you just keep going. You go, no, I have that same gut reaction that I had with Evel Knievel, and that worked. I got to keep with that. I got to keep with my emotions, my feelings. You know, it's a gift. It's a gift to, to know something. A lot of people, they keep going with something, but you go, there's no way anybody's ever going to buy this. I'm sorry. It's just not good. It's badly written. It's nothing, and you just know. And you just have to have the tenacity to keep going, but it's got to be something that has something to it.
Well,
it's
something
about something.
I mean, as I look at the films you've produced, every one of them is the kind of heartfelt story that really kickstarted your acting career.
That's true. Yeah, they're positive, uplifting, and they're about somebody overcoming great obstacles to get to where they always saw themselves.
Right.
Satchel Paige, I'm going to be the first black in major leagues. I'm going to be it.
Right,
overcoming
very hard,
obstacles. And nobody was more famous. Nobody won more games. Nobody was a better pitcher in the world. Even the greatest pitchers, Dizzy Dean said, "You're the greatest pitcher I've ever seen."
And that film, how did you cast Lou Gossett?
Well, first, I had it over at Carson. It worked at NBC, but they said, okay, we want Bill Cosby.
Sure, he was super hot, right?
Yeah, big. So we offered it to him, and he said, I'll do it for $1 million.
That was a lot of money in those days.
Yeah, and then the network said, we were never going to give him that.
Mm-hmm.
So it died. So I stayed with the project. It took me like 10 years to get it going, to finally get it made. And somebody announced that they were doing it. And I go, well, they can't do that. I own that. So I called them.
You had optioned the rights from the original.
Yeah, I had options. I had first refusal because of all the stuff I had done with it before. So I called their offices at MGM, and I knew the producer. I'd worked for him as an actor. And I said, hey, look, I hear that you think you're doing this. So I said, I own this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the rights. I've told him where I'd been with it and what we've done. And he said, okay, well, then I'm going to buy it. So I have first refusal. No matter what you offer, I'm going to offer more, and we'll end up doing it together. Why don't we do it together now? He said, okay.
Boy, the master negotiator.
Yeah, oh, yeah, big deal. Yeah. So anyway, we got in business, and he became the head of Danny Arnold's company. And it was a project. And
so
there we started the thing again. Okay, let's find the script and develop a script. They developed the same story I'd written initially because it just worked.
Sure.
For Satchel. And then we just got a new writer to do new dialogue for each one of these scenes. And then we got a green light.
So you took the adversarial problem, the difficulty of who has the rights, and turned it into a collaborative relationship with this guy, and now you had a go project.
Yeah.
So now you're on a roll with television movies.
Right, and I had 3 in development, and I got 3 goes.
What do you mean by development?
Well, I had seen Gary Coleman on television, and I said, this kid is great. I mean, so I went back to all the movies I'd ever done to see what picture, what theme that we can work for Gary Coleman. And I looked at a picture I did do called Mr. Scoutmaster at 20th Century Fox. So I went and I made some calls and found out that next year was the 50th anniversary of the Cub Scouts of America. And I thought, oh, wow, that's a good hook. So I'd come up with this story about this little kid who lives in a foster home and wants to belong. And he goes to the school, and he joined this Cub Scout unit run by this woman who was a reluctant den mother.
Gary Coleman was fairly hot at that time. How did you get him?
Oh, big. He's NBC's biggest star.
Yeah.
Well, knew the head of movies, and I said, this is what we can do with Gary Coleman. And I called Gary Coleman's people and set up a meeting and pitched him this idea and told him that NBC wants to do it.
So as the producer, you're pitching a writer with an idea, let's work together, give me some material. Then you're turning around and pitching the network to get them involved, and then you have to turn around and
No, I didn't have anything. I wrote this story.
Okay, and then but
about this
ultimately
reluctant den mother. Then I get it sold to NBC, and now I go to Gary Coleman's lawyers, who are his people that say yes or no on his career.
So you're
and sold them on the idea, and they called NBC and said, "Hey, Jimmy Hawkins just left our office, and you say you want to do this Scouts picture." They said, "Yeah."
So you're always in constant sales mode. You're always trying.
Always,
right?
Always. It's your. I don't care who you are. Frank Capra, after he had won Oscars and everything, with his Columbia association with Harry Cohen, started off like it was his first project. He had to keep selling himself and everything. They knew he was a great filmmaker, but what's the idea? What are you going to do with it? What Harry Cohen? Well, let's go to script and let me see what you mean. And he was always. It wasn't like, Frank, that's what you want to do. Just do it and come back, and I don't care.
So we don't have a lot of time, but I want to get to a couple of things real quickly.
Sure.
If you're a fledgling producer or you have aspirations to produce, what do you think is the key talent that you need? Is it sales? Is it recognizing good material? Is it relationships?
But it depends on what kind of producer you are. Some people are deal makers. I've had partners on it that they never show up. They just put that project together or introduce you to somebody, and then they're off doing the next one because they're not going to make any more money on that one. They know the deal. They collect their money. They know
right.
You're going to do it. I'm a very hands-on. I love being on a set. I can solve problems before they even become problems.
So what do you think is the principal skill set you need?
It depends on what kind of producer you want to be.
To be a Jimmy Hawkins.
Contacts. That's the whole thing. Contacts. Contacts at a project. Somebody's good at selling stuff. I would tell my partner, gee, I want to come up with this idea, and I want to meet with Mel Brooks is doing this kind of thing. Oh, okay. Next week I'm sitting with Mel Brooks, having lunch, telling him about this idea. My partner would say, oh, Jimmy came up with this great, well, Jimmy, why don't you tell him? And then that's it.
So
he did the main thing. He got me to the guy that is the guy.
So if we were to chisel something in stone, it would be know the right people.
Oh, that's the main thing. You can have the greatest idea in the world, but if you don't have any place to take it, you just have the greatest idea in the world.
Sure.
Now, Jimmy, I wanted to ask you, historically, child actors not only do not do well as adult actors, they seem to kind of fizzle out, but they historically have emotional problems, and you seem to have not had that.
It's your parents. Whenever you see a kid actor have problems, you look over his shoulder, and his parents should be standing there. That's their fault.
I also wanted to ask you, I know you worked with many, many famous actors, Lana Turner, Spencer Tracy, Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, just tip of the iceberg. I want to ask you, your favorite female and male actors in the past, and do you have any in the present right now?
You work with people and you like them. Like I just got along really great with Donna Reed. first day of shooting the very first episode of Donna Reed was just a wonderful experience. I went up to her and said, how do you do? I'm Jimmy Hawkins, and I played your son in It's a Wonderful Life. And she said, oh, yeah, I know. And then she told me a story about us on the set together, and she remembered that. Here I am 12 years later with her, and 8 years after that, I was still doing the show. She was just a marvelous lady. We just hit it off great. Charlie Ruggles taught me a lot in early television back in the 40s. And he was very important, and watching him work. And Fred McMurray was very complimentary. And, you know that if you work with these major stars and they have you come back, you got something. Because if you don't, they don't see anymore. They can't take the chance of being with a bunch of duds.
Right. Now,
that impacts on their show.
Now, I've known you for quite a long time, and I have never seen you not be involved and be busy with something. What is remarkable to me is that after being an actor and while producing, you've also been writing and publishing books. Tell us about that and how you got inspired to become an author. And
well, it's I don't know. I don't know. I have to say there's the man upstairs, a bigger power, or whatever, taps me on the shoulder, and I go, well, I don't even know anything about this. Like one day I was sitting in my office, and out of the blue came an idea about the Apollo Theater. The Apollo Theater. It was a theater where black entertainers went to entertain other black people, the only one of its kind. Something told me, do something about that. So, talked to somebody, and they said, I know a gal who writes. She's a black writer. I said, well, yeah, have her come on in. And I said, here's what I want to do some research on this and everything. And so she came back, and she said, you know what? You know what next year is? I said, what? It's the 50th anniversary of the Apollo Theater. I said, well, there's our theme. Let's do it. So she wrote up these couple of pages, and so I was thinking, now, where's the best place to take this? Now, a friend of mine was the head of NBC variety specials, so I ran it by him because he was leaving and starting his own company. I said, well, I got a great idea for you for a thing, and here it is, the Apollo Theater's 50th anniversary. He said, no, I've worked with them for years. They'd never buy this. I said, oh, really? Okay. So then I said, now, who else would be good? So I said, oh, Motown. Maybe they'll spark to it. So I had this presentation made up, and I always would put the name of the people that I'm meeting with. So I said, Motown presents the 50th anniversary of the Apollo Theater. So I had 4 or 5 of these little presentations. Didn't make any difference what's inside, a little history of the place and how I saw the show. But I was there with the head of Motown and television, and so I said, well, what'd you bring into me? I said, well, I'm going to give you a presentation, and you'll read the front page, and we'll either have a deal or we won't. Doesn't make any difference what's inside of it.
Just the top page, just the top page, right?
Just the top page. So I hand her one, and 2 or 3 of her assistants are sitting there. The gal is standing there reading Motown presents the 50th anniversary of the Apollo Theater. She looks at it. She looks at her people and says, why the hell didn't we think of it? Let's go. And that was it. Had a deal. Made a deal. Turned out to be a 3-hour special on NBC.
Wow.
There's another thing. You can't ever...
Right.
Here's the guy that was the head of NBC for years in the variety thing and didn't even know that they would do this and told me they will never do this.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. Now, it turns out, wins the Emmy for the best variety special that year, won all sorts of awards with the NAACP, their big award. That's why I say there's a bigger power. Why would somebody tap me on the shoulder and say, do the Apollo Theater? What is the Apollo Theater?
Because you had
I didn't know it.
You had not been a variety producer. You're not particularly into African American culture or music.
And you're not African American.
You hadn't been living it. You haven't been living.
And here
in
I
Harlem.
am. Did the Satchel Paige story and Scout's Honor.
Yeah.
That's
really
now
interesting.
in 1985, I come up with this special on Motown's 50th anniversary, and Motown didn't even know that it was Apollo's 50th.
That's funny. So,
and they got Bill Cosby to host it.
I love it. So
you
you
just got to, I don't know what it is. It's a gift. I'm not that smart.
with all that background, what inspired you to get into the book publishing business and marketing?
Oh, well, It's a Wonderful Life was becoming extremely popular in 1991, 92. And so I thought, geez, everybody thinks they know everything about it. How about a trivia book? That'd be a good idea.
Does this stuff come to you with your head on the pillow? When do you come up with this stuff?
In the shower,
Okay,
whatever.
all right.
Just sitting there, and it just comes. And I say, I've never written a book before. So I went to Paul Peterson, and I said, look, we've always wanted to try and raise some money for the Donna Reed Foundation. How about working on this book together? It's a trivia book on It's a Wonderful Life. He said, oh, that's a great idea. Okay. I said, you've written books, and, maybe you know some publishers and blah, blah, blah. So we write this thing. Now I've got to decide. I said, well, what publishers do you know? Well, I really don't know any. I haven't done anything in a long time. Okay, so I go to the bookstore. Who publishes these kind of entertainment books, trivia, or whatever?
This is like ground level research.
Yeah, right. So I look in the books and see this publisher, and I write the name down, and I call them. And I said, I have this idea, I went to ICM to represent me on this thing. Paul Peterson said, I'm going to do a show in New York. I said, okay, great. I have these 5 publishers. Meet with them. You walk in, they'll go crazy.
Because Paul Peterson, co-star of the Donna Reed Show.
He meets with them. The next day, I get a call back from this major publisher. I like it. I like this. I said, oh, that's good. Okay, I'm waiting for, okay. She says, oh, I want to buy it. I said, well, good. Okay. So she said, well, what do you want for it? I said, well, I think you best talk to our agent. Well, who's that? I tell him. I can't afford this book. This agent was the biggest in the book business.
Sure.
See, they weren't going to lowball us when we got this lady that
right.
is the leading agent for books in the business. They
right.
can't tell her, well, no, you see, we've done. No. I said, give her the best shot. So she did. And the agent called me. Here's what they offered. I suggest you take it. I said, we'll take it. That was it.
Great. So
I've never written a book, and so I see that it's very popular. They said, well, we're going to print 5,000 books, and if we sell those, it'll be great. Well, the book wasn't even out. They just went to shows, and they were up to 55,000 in the first printing.
Wow.
So suddenly you're a best-selling author. And how many books have you done now?
I think 5.
Incredible.
5. All on It's a Wonderful Life.
And those books continue to sell. They're perennial sellers.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy, I'm gonna make you cringe because I've asked you this before. How about the book of Jimmy Hawkins?
Yeah, who cares?
The autobiography? Oh, please, the autobiography?
I want to... Yeah, no. I don't know.
I'm just now, after his recent passing, I'm just now reading Mickey Rooney's autobiography, and every page I'm thinking, Jimmy Hawkins could write a better book.
Well, I'm telling you, I met Mickey Rooney because I played Andy Hardy in the television version.
Oh, that's right.
Of his thing, and a very nice guy. He said, I should have directed your pilot. Nobody knew more than I did. And I said, yeah, well, go figure. And he's a very nice guy, extremely obnoxious, but
speak about high energy, right?
Oh, very, and isn't a more gifted actor than he was. He just could do it all.
All right, well, when you're ready, I'll be happy to go out with you and pitch the Jimmy Hawkins story.
Okay.
So as I know your time is limited, and we need to wrap this up quickly.
Yeah.
Real fast. Tell me what you consider to be the number one biggest break of your career.
I don't know, because it just happened. I just never stopped working. I got 2 shows that lasted 11 years together. Never stopped working, and then outgrew kid actor, and that's why I say you have to keep reinventing yourself. And that's when the Donna Reed Show came along. And then I was playing the boyfriend of every girl on television and the best friend of every guy.
Who is your favorite girlfriend?
I'd have to say Shelly Fabares.
Okay.
Yeah, you and everybody else, huh?
Yeah, she's lovely.
Oh, yeah, but she was great in her timing. We just worked together extremely well.
So I think maybe, knowing how you got into the business at 2, I think your biggest break was your mom.
Exactly. She had that tenacity. She wanted her kid in the picture business, and I lucked out. That's all. I just kept working. I never stopped working. It just, whatever. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "It's your turn."
That's right.
But it hasn't been easy. It hasn't. It's always, you have to always prove yourself again and again and again. And it's like what you started off to say,
And what I see,
it doesn't become easy. It, not for me anyway.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Seriously, in spite of all the adversity that the business throws up in front of everybody, all of which you've faced and overcome, it takes a unique person to have the positive outlook and the vision to keep going in spite of everything. And to me, you've been that person. I've never heard you ever once say, "I'm done. I quit. This is not happening." You just pick up your pieces.
Finding the person. I say, it's a search. Who's the guy that's going to think the way I think?
Perfect.
Now, how do I get to him? And nowadays, I go to somebody that they believe in. He believed in me, but he's the guy that the studios believe in, or the whatever believe in. That's who I look for now.
Well, that's
they don't care what I say.
That's
but
great.
I sell it to the guy, and they care what he says. Now, he liked it. That must be good.
Well, that's a great piece of career advice, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Terrific.
They don't want you, but they want him. Well, now I'm going to go to him.
All right. So I know you've got a day full of busy meetings and projects you're pushing. Next time we get together, we'll talk about what your next production is. All right?
All righty.
Hey,
Fair
Jim,
enough.
we can't thank you enough.
Thank you for caring. I appreciate it very, very much.
All right, man.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All
Talk
right,
to you
best
soon.
To you guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
All righty.
I have a very exciting announcement to make.
What's that?
I would like to announce that our book, Where Hollywood Hides, Santa Barbara, will be coming out on September 1st.
That's right. It's been a while, but
Yay!
It will be available September 1st at our website at wherehollywoodhides.com. It'll be Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. It'll be everywhere.
It'll be a great gift book. Every woman loves flowers, right?
That's what I've been told.
And it's been months.
I hadn't noticed, but...
My personal favorite this week, Bob, is 1-800-Flowers.com, one of the internet's original online retailers, and has been named one of the web's top 50 retail stores for 7 years now. That's a long time.
That's saying something, because the internet's pretty big.
So, Bob, this is the only place to order flowers online, so whether you're looking for roses, orchids, gift baskets, or wedding bouquets... That's not us, is it? No. 1-800-Flowers.com has the absolute best in quality and service. And the best way to get that service and that absolute best prices, whether you're looking for delivery across town or even here to Santa Barbara, Bob.
Okay, I'm getting a hint.
Is by going to wherehollywoodhides.com and clicking on the 1-800-Flowers link. So flowers are always the perfect gift from 1-800-Flowers.com.
Hey, thanks as always for taking a listen to the podcast at Where Hollywood Hides. If you like what you're hearing, please go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating and review if you can. Even just a couple of words helps. And if you're on Facebook, go to Facebook.com/Where Hollywood Hides. Give us one of those likes. We'd appreciate it. Music for these podcasts is provided by Chance McCullough. You can hear more of his tracks at chancemccullough.com. Until next time.
Bye.